Okay. Let me just go to the appropriate. All right, we're back. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Honey Badger Radio. I hope you guys are doing well. Sorry about the little mix-up. There was an issue with a recent update to Open Broadcaster software that was causing my computer to do all the encoding for the video, which was pushing it to the limit. And I think that was affecting the audio and video presentation because it's overworking my 5-year-old machine. But I have fixed it to where it should be running the way it's supposed to, and that shouldn't affect any of our streams. I think we're still good on Rumble and so on. So yeah, I am sorry about that. Yeah.
Gonna have to do like a fundraiser to get your machine improved, shall we say.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, we are live. Everything's working just like it's supposed to. So let's set it up. Sorry about that.
Okay, so
we're getting into it.
Do we have new links that people should go to, or well, I probably already are.
They'll find it. I already have. They should find it. I'll have to put them in the Discord if they need them, because those will be.
Yeah, it looks like Me6 isn't updating with the new links. So, oh wait, no, I think it did. Never mind. Yeah. Never mind. Let me just double check here. Sorry, guys, this happens because we stream quite a bit, almost every day. So there's not a lot of downtime to deal with all of the updates of all of the things. And there are a lot of things. There are a lot of things, a lot of moving parts to this train. All right. So, are we just going to start again, like the intro of the story?
Well, okay. We'll introduce the topic again. It's a new stream, new video, a new me, a new world, a new future. Mm-hmm. So, okay. So this was a request, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a request. It was a request again from Richard Bier, who really likes Manifestel, but on the other hand, she is
a secret crush.
Yeah, she is like a good place to start off with these topics. You know, because she almost has no content. She just gets in front of a camera and blathers and self-contradicts and basically tells us all it's not about the nail. It's actually about men. You know, it's like, it's a good place to start. It's a good place to intro the topic, and you know, and to try to bring in the content that she doesn't have. But in this case, we're going to be looking at 2 of her videos that have when you bring them together, present a really interesting picture. The first video is one in which she advises women to ditch their male friends. Is that pretty much a correct kind of estimation of that video, Brian?
Yes, she thinks that women should not be in platonic relationships with men. That's the short version. I mean, there's reasons why, but I think we can all guess those reasons. I mean, if you guys want to guess, I watched the whole video. If you guys want to guess in the comments why you think it's not a good idea for women to be platonically involved with men.
Mm-hmm.
Not your opinion as to why, because I'm sure there are like reasonable, rational reasons, but her opinion, what you think she's gonna say, let me know in the comments. Do it in the chat.
Yeah. So we're going to look into her rationale for why women should. The title of this is "Ladies Ditch the Toxic Guy Friends in Your Life." The actual content is "Ladies Just Ditch Your Guy Friends," because apparently, this is my prediction, which you know, maybe not bear out. She's probably going to think that that men get more from a friendship with women than women get. So it's like the exact opposite of the whole thing about the friend zone and a woman getting all kinds of things from her male friends without having to have sex with them, which is a concept that I think red pill bros bring up and talk about. And well, she's doing the opposite conjecture, which is that women give too much to their male friends. Now, I don't think she means they give too much to their male friends in terms of actual attention or financial resources or help. She just, I'm guessing, I could be completely wrong. She probably just thinks women's presence in a man's life is worth more than he could possibly give her back in this case. I mean, well, I'm not exactly sure how sex changes this. And then in her I Want a Lavender Marriage, she essentially opines about wanting to marry a gay man for reasons, because apparently, even though that's going to be a platonic relationship, somehow this is the exception, is that if you marry a gay man, that's fine, even though it's like a platonic friendship. But if you want to be friends with men, that's not fine. And I think the common denominator is heterosexual men bad. Just suspecting, like just putting it out there. I could be wrong. This is my thesis, or not thesis, actually hypothesis on what she says. And, I could be completely out to lunch. But before we get into it, I just want to remind you guys the best way to give us a tip is feedthebadger.com/justtip. And if you would like to add to that tip a comment, you can do so at feedthebadger.com/justtip. You get to send your comment not through YouTube's comment thresher system. And if you would like to support the show, it's at feedthebadger.com/support. And yeah, those are the things. So shall we just...
Yeah, let's jump in. This is the I have no guy friends and you shouldn't either video. Do you want to start with that one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Yeah, sure.
and we'll play the intro first, so you guys can brace yourselves. Hold on a second here while I uncheck
Assume the crash
I'm telling you
position.
that
Yeah. Okay, let's open up with it.
I'm telling you that men are never your friends for your own safety. This whole male friendship thing with women is a scam that they run on us so that they can keep accessing us and draining us for free. And we spoiled girlies are putting an end to this scam. I'm not saying get rid of all of these men in your life, but you need to develop some boundaries, okay? All these guy friends that you think are your friends, maybe they're just acquaintances, maybe they're business contacts, industry contacts. And once you recategorize these people in your life, all involvement they have with you has to fall into the labels that you give them. They can declare that they like you in that way and then they can date you properly. But this whole covert nice guy thing, it disadvantages you, drains you, and endangers you. Hey,
whoa, I didn't even realize that we were going to get an explicit conversation about nice guys. Oh my God. I had a sense that it was going to be like an inversion of the red pill nice guys conversation, but I did not know that it was going to be an explicit reference to nice guys. I'm just saying. You don't look happy at all, Brian.
No, I mean, I've seen this. I think that I don't think men should be nice to women. I don't. I think that, like, if you're a nice guy in 2024, you need to stop. Like, no matter what, be good. I'm not saying don't be a good man. I'm saying stop being nice to women because they don't actually appreciate it. It's just they don't deserve it. So when I hear her say this nice guy thing, it's like you're proving my point, Manifestel. You're proving my point. So that's it. Like, my whole thing is I'm not nice to women. Men shouldn't be nice to women. I'm good to my wife. I'm good to the women in my life, but that's not the same thing. So yeah, these hoes, they're not loyal. That's it. It. Don't be nice.
Yeah, don't be nice. Like, and obviously, that's what Manifestel is asking you.
Well, they treat it as predatory.
Demanding. Yeah, they treat it as predatory. So if you're not in a relationship with a woman, don't give her stuff. Don't help her out. Don't do things to assist her. Okay, just don't. Like, just stop doing that. And I think men are actually stopping doing that. They've stopped assisting women with their careers. They've stopped helping women with household whatever, no, not being the honeydew without being the honey. You know what I mean? Like helping women with their household tasks and stuff. I think men are sort of gradually sort of excluding this from their lives. But I'm not so sure she the framework here is that women are getting more from these relationships. But are they? Whenever I look at these relationships, it's the man who's picking up the slack. You know, it's the man who's helping the moving. It's the man who's mowing the lawn, you know, for nothing. It's the man who's doing this, that, and the other thing. Because it's sort of like what men do. They have an urge to take care of things physically, like to take care of the material realities around them. And so when they get in these friendships with these women, they help take care of their material realities, or they are an ear for these women to listen to, or to listen to these women's problems, you know. And I'm not, you know, I mean, Manifestel's entire hypothesis here is that for some reason, women are the ones who are losing out from this relationship, when it doesn't seem like from my observations that that's the case. Usually the women are gaining significantly from the relationship with nice guys, and with these guys who are doing these things in order to get noticed, or doing these things because they're simply good friends. You know, that's the way men think. They think that if you're in your circle, that you are deserving of their protection and their provision, even if you're not sleeping with them, because you're part of their community. But the thesis, or the hypothesis that she has, is that women are losing out from these relationships. In my experience, doesn't really bear out, at least on a material or in like what you would term an emotional labor standpoint. You know, it doesn't really bear out. And then the other thing is that often if the nice guy ends up in a relationship, things then that can happen are the woman who he was, I guess, an orbiter to, can become jealous of that relationship and intend to break it up. So I'm not buying that women are losing so much in these situations where they have male friends. Like, I'm not buying it. But, you know, maybe she can sell it to me. What does she say? What is it that women are doing for their male friends that she thinks is so valuable that it just completely overwrites what I've been seeing is the dynamic, which is the male friend is available to help the woman when she needs help, to give her advice, to do emotional labor of listening to her, and all of that other stuff. I mean, what is it she's proposing that women give that's so valuable in these situations? I guess we'll find out.
All right, I'm going to play some more.
Yep.
I am done with that. Like, all these feel-good messages are coming home to roost. And we are seeing the effects of telling people, especially women, all these feel-good narratives that don't really do anything good for us. We're over it. The next reason why you should do a guy friend purge is because they perform Canopy ministry on you. I got this term from...
So this is her thesis as to like her reasons. One is that essentially men are not doing emotional labor for women. Women are doing them for men. Men are labor, men are risk. That's her whole, like, I don't know if you guys know, I don't know how many videos there are on her channel, but if she has like 1,000 videos, all of them boil down to men are labor and men are work, or men are labor and men are risk. Okay.
But it's interesting because she expects from men, she says men are labor and risk, but she expects from her relationships with men that they provide all the labor and take all the risks. And yet with her relationships with women, she talks about needing to be in your servant mentality. So what's interesting is she's got this strange inversion where her expectations of her relationships with men are that they serve her, while contending that men are labor and risk. And her expectations of her relationships with women are that they have a mutual service. So by her own framework, all relationships with women are going to have more cost to women than relationships to men.
Yeah, but she's not concerned with like whether or not she sounds hypocritical or if there's like a cognitive dissonance. She's trad when it's convenient for her, and she's progressive when it's convenient for her. It all comes
Mhm.
down to what's convenient for her. That's it. That's really the only standard that you can measure this by is how do I benefit? Period.
Mhm.
There is no like what is right or whatever. It's like she is the definition of out for her own, full stop. There are no standards. And a lot of women, they love that. They eat that up. They're also trad when it's convenient for them, basically when they benefit, and then progressive when they benefit. It's got nothing to do with men. It doesn't even have a lot to do with other women, even though they'll claim they care about them. They really don't. They're just out for themselves. This is why Manifestel doesn't have any friends, why she's not married, why maybe she's got orbiters and she doesn't like them. And I would tell those guys, get the hell away from her and grow a spine and stop being a bitch, because those men, and I have pity for them, but those men are essentially wasting their lives being orbiters around women like this. That's why they shouldn't be nice to women. Just
Be
don't be
polite.
mean. Be cordial, but don't be nice to people, especially people who think so little of you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good
Uh,
good advice.
yeah,
I'm just curious what she thinks. So far she really okay, well, she's going to get into this Canopy.
yeah, that Canopy ministry
All right,
thing.
let's hear it.
All right, let's listen to this bit. I got a super chat really quick. Let me just read it. Celine gave us $1.99 and says she is offended when a man expects anything. Yes, that's kind of the point. I mean, again, we don't live in a kind of world where women are expected to do anything. Like that's why we're at this point, because we've never held women to any standard, at least not for a
Well,
very long time.
not for a
And
while.
now that women have basically been able to do whatever they want, consequence free for like 50 or 60 years, people are like, well, man, why is everything going to shit? Why are men not stepping up? And it's like, no, you basically did this to women, like full stop. This is
Mhm.
women are causing all of the problems, like almost all of the problems, guys. That's it. Like I'm done playing footsie with people about this. This is what's happened. We have allowed women we've given them the status of adults, and then we didn't say that this was wrong when they did it, and they just kept doing it, and now they're at the point where they're entitled. And they're spoiled. Like this is literally the spoiled girly support group. They're
Yeah.
telling you what they're doing. They're not even apologizing, and we're still trying to figure out how to blame men.
I
Like,
know.
so anyway, let's play more of the video.
Well, I
Thank you
mean,
for the
it's
super
really
chat.
simple. It's really simple. And it's funny because the only standard that I've seen her ever hold women to is this idea that they need to be in their servant mentality with their women friends. Except when you actually analyze what she's saying, it more starts to sound like she thinks they need to be in their servant mentality with her as opposed
Yeah.
to anything else. But it's like that's the only standard. And if you don't hold people to a standard, they live up to the standard you don't hold them to. Like that's what
Yep.
they do. Like we don't have like if we didn't have an entire cultural tradition starting with the Epic of Gilgamesh telling men that they need to judge their actions based on their actions effects on others, would men be, I mean, I think that men do seek that out, but I am sure that these narratives actually do something to encourage pro-social behavior in men. We don't have them for women anymore. We used to. It's a lot in like fairy tales and a lot in like the Christian martyrs and the story of Mother Mary and all of the others and the Sabine women and all of the foundational myths of Rome had all kinds of expectation that women sacrifice for their community, their nation, their family. But that's all gone. Now everything is me, except unless you're in a friendship with another woman, in which case suddenly there's this kind of weird liminal space where you're trying to decide who has to sacrifice for who. But and what I've seen from these situations is it's just the woman that's more aggressive and domineering or more capable of using passive aggression as a dominance tactic that ends up subordinating the other woman to whatever it is she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that happens a lot. as far as I can tell. But anyway, let's continue with Manifestel. I did have something I'm trying to find that I thought was really, really related to what you just said, but I'm having a little
Well,
bit of trouble.
let me just play more of this.
Oh, here
One
it
of
is.
the
Here it
spoiled
is.
girlies who
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's coming through. I think you'll love this. I think you'll love it. I think you will.
All right, let me see.
I think everybody will love it because
Is
it's
this a
freaking hilarious.
video?
Yeah, it's a video.
I have to download it and then I have to upload it. Do you want to put it on here?
Yeah, put it on there and just take a look at it. It's
All right.
crazy.
Oh, is this the little girl throwing a tantrum in a
Yes.
I've seen this one. Yeah, I've seen this one. Okay, hold on. Let me just go to the beginning and share this tab. All right, here we go. It's like 30 seconds, so let's play it all.
Don't yell at her. You don't know what she's been through.
Yeah.
She's a fucking child. How much could she have been through? Don't report her. Don't know what she's been through. Oh my God, look at that. She's destroying 30 water bottles.
Yeah.
And this woman, it's not just that the girl is throwing a tantrum. It's the adult woman defending the behavior. What kind of society do you think you're going to get if this is how you treat half of your society that has actual power? Like actual voting power. Right? What kind of society you're going to get with this lack of accountability and responsibility for women, and they also have equal power in the public sphere to men? Like, I mean, I guess you can indulge this if women live in harems and they're not allowed to speak in public. Like, and they're not allowed to hold public office and have control over people's lives. But if they are, it doesn't fucking matter what happened to her. She needs to take responsibility for her actions in the here and now. And giving women these excuses means that we are going to be ruled by a bunch of tantrum throwing tyrants. Okay.
Yep. All right, so this is let's play the video.
whose pastor preached it to everyone that you should not have guy friends because they perform Canopy ministry on you. So what I'm telling you is nothing new, okay? A lot of people have woken up to this all on their own.
He's going to explain it.
Or maybe in their churches, in their friend groups, whatever. You will notice that whatever I talk about is nothing new. Everyone already has it in their heads, and we're just finding words for it and sharing it with all the spoiled girlies. Back to the topic. So I got this from one of the spoiled girlies. Thank you. Thank you for your submission. Male friends perform Canopy ministry. If you don't know what Canopy ministry is, it is when male friends put their canopy over their female friends, so that other men wouldn't approach these women. So if you, as a woman, you want to date, you want to find a husband, you want men to approach you, having another man physically with you, or even energetically and mentally occupying your space, it drives away other men who could potentially be good mates for you. So
I mean, I think that it's not easy for people of the opposite sex to just be friends. But I don't think that men who are friends with women have the intention of mate guarding them just because they are the opposite sex. And I don't think that it's only one directional if it does happen. I mean, there are orbiter females as well. They exist. But I mean, that's what she's setting up is basically if there's a guy, if you're a woman and there's a guy and he's your friend, he's probably keeping good men out of your life by being your friend, which is basically another way of giving you FOMO about the kind of men you could be meeting if you weren't friends with this guy who is basically like an obstacle to that. So
okay, so this is the example. I just sent it to you because I found it as a search. Never
Okay.
allow Canopy ministry over your head as a single lady. But this is in the context of extremely what looks like, well, it's looks probably like African, right?
Yeah, I mean, like this website is.
Yes, yeah, the website is African. I'm sorry, I don't have any more specific. That African's a ridiculous way. I guess we say European, so, but this would be in the context of extremely traditional culture, if that's the case.
Right.
Like
Well,
extremely
ultimate,
traditional.
yeah, but ultimately, Manifestel is kind of attacking traditional culture in her videos, while also, again, wanting to be able. She treats civilization like a salad bar, where she gets to pick all the things that she wants with none of the things she doesn't want, right? So
Okay.
when she wants to criticize anything traditional or progressive, she will basically put it in the context of this is how I don't benefit. And when she
Mhm.
wants to support anything traditional or progressive, she will do it in the context of how she does benefit. And with the Canopy Ministry, I mean, she's talking to a global audience. Probably some of them live in like, these kinds of societies, but she's applying this everywhere. She's saying men do this because she even said before this segment, right? That this is something that all of us know. Like, obviously, she's talking about her, and we just didn't have words for it until now. So I don't think that she's making the mistake of applying something that is specific to like a highly traditional African culture. She is basically applying this broadly, despite wherever it came from.
Mm.
That's what I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just read the scenario, because I don't think this is applying broadly. I think this is applying to a culture where a woman cannot be having sex with a man and she thinks she's in a relationship with him. I don't think that's our culture. I really don't. So Chinwe and Sam were course mates and fellow members at a university. They were very close, always doing things together daily. Chinwe misinterpreted this to be a relationship. Sam, on the other hand, enjoyed the friendship and was prepared to do anything for Chinwe, who did not hesitate to expose her past and future to Sam. But she never observed that Sam told her about his own life. All the brothers that desired to marry Chinwe thought that she was already engaged to Sam. After schooling, they were both posted to the North for National Youth Service Corps that enabled them to exchange regular visits. After service, they returned to Lagos and got good employments. 6 months later, Sam sent his wedding card to Chinwe. She was so affected that it landed her in the hospital. When Sam was queried, he said he never thought of marrying her because he was already engaged before meeting her. He concluded that he only saw her like his younger sister and nothing more. Are you telling me this woman didn't know he was already engaged? Like, how is that even possible? How is it
I don't
she
know.
didn't
I
she
don't
didn't
know.
pay attention to, like, he never talked about himself? Did you ever ask? Like, or did you just simply say, "Oh, well, he's a person that I can just unload my emotions on." And if the man isn't talking to yourself, what point did Chinwe think that she was in a relationship with this man who's, like, sure, he's spending time with her in the context of some kind of Christian youth service, but what if he's not talking to her about his future and he's not having sex with her and he's not making any moves on her? Why did she think he was in a relationship with her? And obviously she doesn't know any of his relatives or friends if she happened to miss the fact he was already engaged to someone else. Like, and again, this is a completely different culture than the one that Manifestel is floating in. This is a culture where community is a lot bigger and more important, and women are not expected to dictate things to men. Like, that's big in a lot of African cultures. If you're a woman, you don't tell men what to do in public. You just don't. Like, it's a very traditional culture. And she's taking that, she's cherry picking that out of its context and applying it here in a liberal, secular West, where I'm pretty sure a woman doesn't think that she's in a sexual romantic relationship with the nice guy friends who we would call orbiters. You see what I'm saying, Brian?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
harm, the he's using Canopy ministry, and he's saying the harm of Canopy ministry is that the woman thinks she's in a romantic relationship with her male friend. That's not the situation that Manifestel is talking about here at all, whatsoever. It's like she took somebody said something about something completely different, and she said, oh yeah, that applies. It doesn't. These women who are having relationships, friendships with men in the West don't think these relationships are romantic, while the men think they aren't. Like, do you see what I'm saying, Brian? It's not the same. It's like there's no transference.
Well, I think that she's taking the term and reappropriating it for this particular discussion, and she's getting this from, because she said that she heard this term being used by someone else who messaged her, someone in her community, someone that's part of the spoiled girly gang or whatever it is. But it is different in that we can watch more of the video, but the Chinwe thing that you just read, basically what makes it a Canopy ministry in that anecdote is that the woman was under the impression, and the people around her, like the other men who were potential suitors, were under the impression that this guy was either engaged to her or planning to get involved with her, permanently. And the reason why they were under the impression was because they were always hanging out, which I guess is understandable. So the men saw from the outside, oh, well, she's with that guy, or that looks like that's going to go somewhere, so I'm not going to approach or whatever. But also the woman was under the impression that he thought he was involved with her and was maybe waiting for the right time. But in that anecdote, that woman didn't actually care to know anything about this guy's life, so they never talked about it. Therefore, she never learned that he was already engaged to someone else, and he didn't, for whatever reason, volunteer that information. So
Yeah.
there was clearly a miscommunication there. But in Manifestel's version of things, the what makes it a problem, I guess, like her calling it Canopy Ministry is imprecise, but what makes it a problem, why she's bringing it up, is that when you are a woman and you have male friends, you are potentially excluding men who could be serious partners, because they're going to see you with another man and think, oh, well, she's already taken or spoken for. And that is for her the problem, because if a woman is friends with a man and she has no intention of taking it any further, and he doesn't bring her anything except labor and risk, then other good men, of which there are very few, according to Manifestel, are actually going to be like they're going to be less likely to approach, because this guy is kind of acting as a kind of shield from other suitors. And so there are lines that she's trying to connect, but they are coming from different places. And again, I think that she definitely heard this term from someone in her community, and is just sort of using it because she likes to use terms. So,
well, also because it relates to something that men do to women that she can appropriate to increase her victimhood, basically. But the thing is that, again, you're in, okay, and Manifestel is in relationships with men in the West. Does she think, like, she has a male friend, does she think she's in a romantic relationship with him?
no, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't work.
It doesn't
that
work.
way. It doesn't work that way. It would only in the sense that other men might think she's involved, but not her. That's the difference. Like in the anecdote, the woman and other men thought that they were involved, but in Manifestel's version, only other men, and only like men. The only men she really cares about are like the suitable men. Might be the ones that are sort of like under that assumption about
But
their
the other
relationship.
thing is that the only reason they thought the woman was involved was because they're part of a cultural context in which spending time with a woman means romantic involvement. That doesn't apply in the West. So even her fears about this so-called Canopy ministry are unfounded, because men don't think because you spend time with other men that you're necessarily in a relationship with them anymore. They don't see that, and just don't put your Facebook status as being in a relationship with your male friends, and the men around you will probably realize you're not in a relationship with them, because it's a completely different cultural context and it's completely different relationship signaling, right? And the other thing is that this woman was probably giving off vibes or telling these men, even though she didn't explicitly talk to this guy about whether or not they were in a romantic relationship, she just assumed it. But she was probably giving off vibes to these other, or telling these other men she wasn't single.
signaling that she was taken.
Yeah,
And
signaling that she was taken.
and even though she didn't know that she wasn't.
Yeah, and
Right,
and
yeah.
of course the confusion is because she's part of a conservative culture where simply spending time between a man and a woman is seen as romantic, right? This isn't our culture. We can see you're moving over to the Patreon.
Yeah, sorry, that was weird. My thing restarted
So
for some
that
reason.
other
Sorry.
Okay,
Oh.
so this is just it. There's no connection. There's absolutely no connection except man bad, new term, let's apply.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Man,
if you want to avoid this as a woman in the West, first of all, you're not going to have this problem because, again, Western romantic signaling is completely different. Right? So she's basically saying, but in Britain, they drive on the left side of the road. And this is a problem because if you don't drive on the left side of the road in America, you might crash into somebody. No, it's completely different rules. It's a completely different rule system. You don't have to worry about the rule system in Africa when you're in the US. And she's making women worry about something that is completely irrelevant to them. Why?
Manifestel is not consistent, guys. Newsflash. I mean, only in one way, and that is that men are labor and men are work and women are victims. But
yeah, well, that is her consistency. So she has taken a conversation that happens in a completely different cultural context with completely different rules and said, this is a pitfall that applies to you, ladies. You could end up crashing if you drive on the left side, if you don't drive on the left side of the road in the US. No. Different rule system. Okay, these women thought they were in a relationship. American women don't think they're in a relationship with their nice guy friends. That's the problem. Okay? And if the problem really is that American women are like, "Oh, I have such a nice guy friend and I think that we should get married." Actually, I don't think that is a problem. Just tell him. And then get married to him. The end. Like there's none of this. This is the thing. Is her consistent approach is to induce fear and fear of missing out in women. And so what she's doing is she's actually encouraging women to strip their male friends from their life, which, I guess it's another step towards a much more conservative, segregated culture. Like, I mean, that's where we're going. But, I don't think it's of benefit to those women if those male friends are actually helping them or actually good friends. I mean, you're just basically narrowing your social circle, narrower and narrower and narrower until all you are is eyeballs on Manifestel. I guess maybe that's the win condition for all this. Eyeballs on Manifestel. You exist solely as a thing that watches Manifestel. You have no friendships with other women. You have no friendships with other men because God forbid you actually extend yourself emotionally to other human beings on the planet. They might take advantage of you and steal your clout.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's play some more.
Sure.
Men wouldn't approach these women. So if you as a woman, you want to date, you want to find a husband, you want men to approach you, having another man physically with you or even energetically and mentally occupying your space, it drives away other men who could potentially be good mates for you. So all the girlies who say, well, my guy friend is okay because he pays for me. So when you go out, he pays for you, but he's not dating you, but you're ready to date, right? And then you're wondering why you don't have a dating life, even though you want to have a dating life. You're wondering why you don't have a dating life when
What's
you
the
always go out
difference
with your guy
between
friends. And they
this
take
and booty calls? Like, you want to have a dating life, all right? I mean, honestly, if this results in women being like, I really shouldn't exploit my male friends for food, that's good. Like, why are you paying for your female friends? Guys, why are you paying for your female friends' meals? Like, really? I mean, I know it's this roundabout thing where Manifestel is basically inducing the fear that, you're going out with your male friend and he takes you to the keg and he pays $100 for your fucking plate. Sorry, I'm a little bitter, but and then that's him taken from you, ladies. He's taken from you. He's taken something.
Well, that is how she's framing it, right? So, like, men who hang out with women and buy them things, she's saying, oh no, the men aren't losing out by spending their money and, on now, of course, there are going to be men who are going to say, well, look, I'm not expecting anything. I'm just I'm just being a good friend. But, at some point you got to start wondering, like, wait a minute, when has she done anything like this for me? If our relationship is purely platonic, and I think that it is probably, like, I don't know, man. I just feel like it's getting to the point now with the way that, like, men just give and give and give, and women just, like, take it and take it for granted, and they don't reciprocate, and they act like they deserve it just because they're just women and women are wonderful. That it's just like, well, maybe men should just, like, hang out with other men, because that pressure is just not there. Guys are not like, hey man, like, let me pay for that. You guys like, dude, I'm not sucking your dick, okay? Like, that's not gonna happen, right? Assuming that everybody there is heterosexual. It's just going to be like an easy thing where it's like, well, we're just going to put in together and get some food and share it and not even think about, like, who's winning and who's losing and who's, like, what's the score. It's so boring, guys. It's so boring. And women like this, they always do that. Everything is measured in terms of how am I benefiting. Women min-max life. They min-max life like they're playing, like, Skyrim, and they're trying to get, like, all the best, like the best build. Here's the meta for living. That's what women do. They do the meta, and then they don't care who they step on along the way. They don't care how men are exploited by it. And some men, not all men, but some men, they go along with it. They're like, well, I guess I'm just part of the meta. Here's lunch, here's dinner. No, I don't want anything because I'm not one of those guys. I'm just giving you stuff. Maybe men should just stop doing that. Maybe men should let women flounder for a while. And maybe that's the only way I think women are going to be like, holy shit, you know what? My life was really good because men were good to me. And that they're not going to do that. As long as they keep getting shit, they're not going to do that. So I don't know. I think that something's got to give at some point. People like Manifestel with these expectations and attitudes, they seriously should not exist. Like, people like this shouldn't exist. They should always be humble. No, they should be humble. They should be appreciative. They should be willing to do the work themselves. They should value friendships with other men and with women and with their loving husbands or boyfriends and their children, but they don't. They see everything as it's always a game of taking resources versus how much am I giving? Like, everything's transactional. And this is the thing, like,
not transactional, parasitic, because you're always
parasitic because you're not giving. Transaction is a trade-off, at least. But like, this is the thing that, like, the red pill guys talk about, and I think they get a lot of shit for this, and I don't think it's fair, is when they talk about essentially, like, they want something reciprocal, and they're being shamed for it because they're being like, there's this belief that to expect that someone treat you well in exchange for you treating them well, that they're like, you're being like the person that's breaking it down into like something like inhuman and purely monetary. But the truth is that if you're not at least trying to see it in terms of what is rational and reasonable when you're in a relationship with someone, it's going to become parasitic, because then you can't have an opinion on it, and men can't do that, by the way. Men can't be parasites, not without people like throwing them out on the curb. Like it won't work for them long term. It's a very short term thing. After a while, they disgust other people when they act that way. But when women do it, it's completely like she's totally getting that bag. Like it's earned.
Yeah.
Gas queen all the way. And it's like, guys, like how we can't keep doing this. We can't keep doing this, guys.
Well, not unless you want to severely curtail women's greater influence over the world. Because like this level of indulgence doesn't create a creature that's capable of making rational decisions about other people's lives. Period. Like it's just she's not capable. She should not be franchised. She should not have the franchise. Like this, all the rhetoric around black men voting, this is worse. Like this literal attitude of entitlement and inability to see how your entitlements impact the greater system and our strain on them is a worse to enable. I think this is why women, we're against the franchise for women because it's not just what happens to women. It's the fact that men enable this. Like men have this tendency towards just not wanting to hold women accountable. And that doesn't work in a system where people need to be accountable. If you have a vote, you're accountable to your fellow citizen. And if you're a part of a class of people that's not taught to be accountable, and I'm telling you, like this, there's a fundamental difference between how we teach men and how we teach women. And it's right in the word. A man isn't a man just by virtue of having, a penis and testicles. He's a man because he protects and provides. He stands up. He takes the bullet. He goes to war. He does the dangerous jobs or the boring jobs or the stressful jobs for the people who rely on him. That's the man in our estimation. It's 100% determined by his benefit to others. Is that so for a woman? No. A woman is just ovaries. That's it.
What is a woman, though? Yeah, like not even that now. No, nothing distinguishing about women. Only men.
Yeah, it's like that's there's a fundamental difference there. And you can't franchise a group of people that isn't expected to be responsible for people other than themselves and people who don't look like them. Because it's not really being responsible for your fellow citizen if you only judge yourself by your behavior towards women, right? You have to take responsibility for men as your fellow citizens too, or you are not worthy of the vote. Like just and I hate to say it, but black men have always been expected to be responsible for their families, even though we have this gigantic, but we have this system where of welfare and gangs and stuff, but black men are still judged, the ones judged for that, even though they're not the ones who necessarily created it. They're the ones judged for that. So we still hold them to those expectations, even when we absolutely slash them out on the knees for actually fulfilling them. And we hold all men to those expectations. We don't hold women to those expectations. If we don't hold them to that expectation of taking care of their fellow citizen, they should never have been given the vote, period.
Yep.
That's a long digression, but let's keep going.
All right, let's keep going.
Take you out and they pay for you. They are performing Canopy ministry on you. They are accessing you in a romantic way, in a romantic setting, without being your actual mate. And if you're not in the dating mindset right now, you really don't want to date, that's okay. But if you are wondering why your dating life is virtually non-existent or unsuccessful, and yet you keep going out with your guy friends. You have all these men putting their canopy on you, monopolizing you for themselves, and then you wonder,
why are there no men approaching me? Why does my dating life suck?
Because energetically, you're already in a relationship with someone else. If none of your guy friends have professed their love for you right now and want to properly date you, you need to let them go. You can
You notice that the way that she frames this, if you're a man and you're hanging out with a woman, even if you're not interested in her romantically, but let's also include guys that are beta orbiters that are looking for their opportunity, or they're thinking that, if I spend enough money on her, she'll see me, in a romantic way or whatever. Manifestel still thinks that those men are benefiting from that relationship, even
Mhm.
though they're essentially pouring their time and their energy and their money into something that either they don't expect anything from, which means that they just think that it's mutual. There's like a mutual benefit. Like, we just like hanging out with each other because we like each other. We have similar interests, we have similar values, or we have similar beliefs, or we understand similar truths, or whatever it is that like is the baseline for our friendship. Or there are men who are like hoping that she will notice me if I like spend time around her. And I don't think there's anything nefarious about that. I just think that those men are better off not doing that. But there are men who are like that. That's just the reality. And yet Manifestel believes that even though those guys are setting themselves up for heartbreak, they are still benefiting from knowing this person. So this is still the I am the table mentality. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, women are the table no matter what. And the fact that this woman is benefiting from guys hanging around her, being her friend, spending time with her, spending money on her, buying her meals, hanging out with her, going to the club, whatever it is they do, that woman is somehow losing it, even though she's getting all that, because those guys are essentially, creating a canopy ministry around her.
Even though that canopy ministry refers to a completely different culture with a completely different rule set. And I guarantee that if the women aren't the ones in this relationship in the West that are wanting the romantic relationship. Like, honestly, I don't think that's what's going on. And the funny thing is essentially what she's saying is, don't be around men who give you all the perks of having a relationship, but presumably none of the expense, which is being sexual with them.
Mm-hmm.
Stop hanging out with those guys so that you can find a man who expects sex as well. But, you get the perks of the relationship, but he expects something else.
Yeah.
I don't think that women's mere presence is of this level of value. No offense.
No. No.
Like how you said no.
Obviously not. Like, what?
What? Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm sorry, but most women are kind of boring. Like, to be around. Like, they don't want to have fun. Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get it unless you want to bork them. And even then, like, I think that guys could stand to be a lot more picky about that. So
Yeah.
all right, let's get to the rest of this.
Demote them to acquaintance and get your energy back. You can call
Oh,
your
okay,
power
so
back. Here's a
So what they're doing is
Oh
promoting
God,
them
this
to acquaintance.
energy language. I'm
No,
sorry. Go ahead.
actually, I think this is great. Actually, you know what these women should do? They should explicitly tell their male friends, you don't have a chance. Okay, you're just my acquaintance. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but see, they open themselves up to catch a big L though, because if a woman goes to a man and says, "Look, I'm just gonna break it to you. I know that you really want to have sex with me. I know that, but it's just not gonna. It's just not gonna. I'm sorry. I'm just not interested." And that guy just says, no, I didn't actually have an interest." That's gonna hurt them more. Like, women are not prepared for rejection from men. I think men deal with rejection a lot better than
Well, I mean,
women do.
they could alternatively. So what she's going to do is
What men should do is, if they enter friendships with women, they should open up by saying, "Look, just for the record, I just want to be friends. So don't even think about it, okay?
Well,
Don't worry.
yeah,
I'm not
maybe.
attracted to you. We're just gonna go bowling."
Yeah.
And then watch them get upset. Watch that.
Yeah, no, actually that's a good plan. It's like and then you can be completely clear. Just clear the air. Not interested in you. I'm sorry. Like I'm just not interested. And but if she okay. So essentially what she's saying is for women to stop letting men pay for their time if they're not in a romantic relationship with them. That's actually good advice. I mean, she's framing it in such a weird, convoluted way. But yeah, ladies, stop allowing men to pay for you if you're not in a relationship with them. Yeah, just value their company. And if you can't just value their company, don't take their money. Because there's a word for that. Unfortunately, we seem to have forgotten it. But there is a word for that. So I mean, it's roundabout, but at least she's hitting on like the broken clock is right twice a day, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying what she should encourage. If women want to pursue this, they should just simply say it to their male friends. You don't have a chance. Don't bother paying for me. We're not going to have a relationship. I mean, just in case you were thinking, I know you might not be thinking that we're going to have a relationship, but I just don't feel that way towards you. So don't spend money on me. Don't necessarily go out of your way to listen to my problems or help me out with things that you can help me out with. Just just treat me like your guy buds, or or we can just be acquaintances or whatever. I don't know if it's really women who are going to be like, I don't think it's men who are going to be losing out from this somehow. I don't.
No, men like to know where they stand.
Yeah,
with
I don't.
people.
And I guess if you're a guy and you've experienced your female friends like you're actually paying for your female friends' suppers and all of this other stuff, and you
They're
find,
using you as their emotional tampon when they like have a breakup with some dude and they're like crying on the phone with you.
and
They
they
don't actually want to
suddenly
like
stop.
give you anything. Like, no.
They suddenly stop doing that. I guess they followed Manifestel's advice to remove all of the parasites in your life that are actively giving you resources.
Hmm.
Which,
I
that's
I wanted to comment on something somebody said because I thought it was really interesting, and I'm going to pose a question. This is like a little bit off topic, but I think it's funny. A Norwegian said, "Hey, cousin, it's me, Roman. Want to go bowling?" And he's making a reference to Grand Theft Auto 4. And in Grand Theft Auto 4, you can actually form relationships with different NPCs, right? And you're playing a male character named Nico Bellic, and I think that all of the friends are men. Now you can also like get involved with women, but those are purely romantic. And when not romantic, there is like a what is it? I want to say there's like a practical, like pragmatic ability. Like there's like a nurse and she'll heal you, and there's like a woman who's a lawyer and she'll get you out of jail or something like that. But they're not your friends. Like the women in the game, you just like you have sex with them and that's it. And they'll do you favors. But the men, you can like hang out with Brucey and Roman, who's your cousin, and these other guys. I just think it's really funny that GTA 4 kind of like did that. And I'm GTA is dead now. They're gonna wokeify the shit out of it. But I love that going bowling with Roman or getting drunk or going to the titty bar. Those are just like some of the stuff you do with guys that I don't think you can do that with girls. So anyway. So anyway, anybody, if you guys got quotes from GTA 4, you can put them in the chat. I'll put them on screen. All right, let's I'm sorry, Allison, let's keep going.
yeah.
Success story from one of the spoiled girlies if you're still skeptical and you want to hang on to your guy friends.
I said goodbye to male friendships, orbiters, below bare minimum effort men, and PB&J dreamers.
Oh my god, I love it. We have our own vocabulary,
I then took all of the extra energy gained from the bro purge to pour into myself. Fast forward, I'm in a relationship with a caring, successful, provider-minded man who I can be my
Wait,
feminine self with.
wait. Okay, go back. Let's read the whole thing. Come on, for 100,000 K, you deserve it, bot. Your channel has changed my life. I said goodbye to male friendships, orbiters, BBMLEM, and PB&J dreamers. I then began pouring into my female friendships, which was a struggle as being a pick-misha, as how my family raised women. I then took all of the extra energy gained from the bro purge to pour into myself. Fast forward, I'm in a relationship with a caring, successful, provider-minded man who can be I can be my feminine self with. Besties, it is possible. Rip the Band-Aid and get started. You can do it. You are worth it. So in other words, you stopped exploiting men you were not sexually attracted to for their resources and focused on finding one man to, well, I don't even know if she's sexually attracted to him, but finding one man to get into a relationship with to extract resources from. So you basically changed nothing. except you just have one dude you extract resources from now instead of, you put your eggs all in one basket is probably the way you'd put it if you're that resource minded. Okay.
So like, is this just like, okay, so dating outside of like involving the family, like men and women meeting like in a social atmosphere, like school or work or whatever, and then dating each other before like meeting their parents or whatever, is a relatively recent phenomenon, right? Like most of history, people were basically set up, or their communities were so small that you were most likely going to marry the girl that you grew up with in your town, or the farm next door, or whatever it is, the clan, the blacksmiths over there, and you're like the shoemakers over here, and you have a boy and they have a girl, and you basically like get them to marry each other to make your company bigger. But like dating as an individual, on his own outside of the family involvement is a relatively recent phenomenon that I'm talking like in less than, let's say, I don't know, 75 years or so. And it probably was still going on like around World War One, like around those times where people were probably still like getting set up in their hometown by their neighbors, by people in the community, in the church, whatever it was, before you had a thing where women were entering the workforce and they were going to school and they were meeting men, in these I don't know, like co-ed arrangements. So if we know that dating is relatively recent, and I'm not saying that it's failed, but what I'm hearing from this is women are blaming men, but they're also wanting to revert to a time where they didn't have to like be social, like they don't like engage in friendships with other men, but they just want to like find what they're calling a, what is it, caring, successful, provider minded man. And I think that this is like the truth of what women want. It's like they want to live in a world where they're less concerned with, things like rights and jobs. And like I'm not saying take their rights. I'm saying it sounds like women want to just like have everything like planned out for them, including the man, as long as he is the right kind of man, and then they will be able to be in their feminine self with, or in their feminine energy. So the female dating strategy are ultra traditionalists, right? That essentially want to go back, because like before dating, I'm I don't know if I'm completely right on this, but I think before dating, women were essentially just betrothed, like, oh yeah, this is the guy, and they just made it work. Like most of the time they just were like, well, he's the son of this cobbler and they have a business and I'm gonna do fine, or this guy owns a farm and he's gonna inherit the farm, so I'm set. And as long as women are set, then they're just gonna be fine with that. And modernity has turned them into people like this, who are grasping at something. They think it's new, but it's actually really old. It's almost primitive. Because and that's where the materialism comes in, I think. So I'm just saying there's something funny going on. Like Manifestel is aching for like an ultra traditional, life, but she wants to fight the patriarchy too, which we'll get into in the next the next clip.
Well, what's interesting is you can come at this from another direction, which probably would end up having a healthier end result. Don't exploit your male friends, right? And if you're clarify, yeah, there's no relationship at the end of this, like I don't have romantic feelings, and they disappear, then you've just cleared the air. You're not using the possibility of that in order to extract anything from other people, and just value them for their time. Right. I don't know why they're like, this particular group of women is so like, oh, men, they're like, they're just sucking you and sucking you. I'm like, really? Is that true?
It's projection.
Yeah. I mean, like, honestly, did usually men just want to do fun things in a group. It's not really complicated. Or
Yeah, but she doesn't believe that men should be allowed to have fun either. That's
Hmm.
another thing, right? Like men can't have hobbies because hobbies are gross and they take time away that should be given to serve women. So that's how ultra trad these people are. Like Manifestel doesn't think men should have hobbies or interests or do anything. They should be serving women. They should be in their what is it? Their servant era or whatever.
well, I mean,
Constantly. Like basically they measure their worth by how happy they make the women in their life.
and all I can do is think is this is just basically saying don't exploit your male friends. Maybe you'll find an actual partner. And go for an
Yeah,
actual
maybe.
partner. Yeah, an
That's
actual
one
partner.
way to put it, but I don't think that she
I
thinks
know,
that
I know
these
she
women
isn't.
are she
But
doesn't think
when I read
that women
this,
are
all I can
exploiting
think
these
of,
men.
all I can
Yeah.
think of is that we shouldn't enfranchise half the human race if they can't have compassion for the other half. They shouldn't be in
Yeah.
positions of power making decisions. So, I mean, yeah, sure, you can frame it this way, but you're just indicating that. And the thing is that ultimately, because they can't frame this in terms of understanding men are human, right?
Mhm.
And they present this, well, if you cannot understand that men have needs and be okay with that, why should you be in a position of determining who gets what in government by having a vote? Like, if you can't like I said, if you can't have compassion for half the human race, you shouldn't be in a position of any kind of stewardship over human civilization. And if you are going to steward it badly, which is exactly what we're seeing. Okay.
Yep. All right. Let's listen to the next bit. So I jumped ahead. This is kind of like her thesis. So
Checking on him, doesn't have a group of men holding him accountable, empowering him,
What's he talking
encouraging
about?
him. The
basically that men should be teaching other men. I can go back a little bit if you want to hear
For
that part.
teaching other men what?
Like how to be men well, like basically making them healthy men.
the male partners of the spoiled girlies, they do a lot. Like they do a lot. And that is the reason why we can embody spoiled girlyhood. So I really commend all the good men for that. But if you're a man and you don't want to give that to women, you're just going to have female friends. So you can get all the benefits without doing the appropriate work.
Yeah,
Lack
but
of
they're doing the
brotherhood is a
same
big
work. Like, you even admitted that these men are paying for these women. What's really happening is that these women are taking from men courtship behaviors without supplying an actual relationship. And if you kick that kind of deceit out of your life, maybe the real thing that you gain is a more honest situation. And when you become a more honest person, maybe you attract a more honest partner. But, like, what are you even talking about with this? Like, the other thing is, she's not married, right? She doesn't have a ring. I mean, I'm married and I don't have a ring, but I don't think she's married.
No. I'm not even sure she has a boyfriend. She doesn't really talk about any of that. Maybe she thinks that talking about her boyfriend, if she has one, is a kind of surrender that she doesn't
Hmm.
want to do. Like basically giving guys credit, is hard. So you want to hear more
Okay.
of this? Okay. Lack of
Sure.
brotherhood is a big problem. Okay, there's a bit more of this. It gets good.
problem. Like men need to develop their healthy masculinity instead of leaning on female friendships to cure the void that they have inside because they don't have male friends. They don't have brotherhood. Brotherhood is very important to men. And a man who does not have brotherhood doesn't have a group of men checking on him, doesn't have a group of men holding him accountable, empowering him, encouraging him, the lone wolf, that is a dangerous man. We already talked about how a man who does not have the respect of other men is a dangerous man in this episode, so check it out. No one
I think we already responded to that one. She did. I guess there's like a up here, like the what do you call those little things that are up in the upper right corner? That's like how you can click on another link, notes or something. But anyway, notice that what she lists all these things that would be good for men, and I think that those things are true, but are there also things that would those things also apply to women? I don't know.
Mm.
Gets more angry than a man who can no longer take advantage of women. So all the men who get so pressed about women no longer having male friends, we see right through it. Women are waking up to their worth and the ways that men use them, disadvantage them, and hurt them. Women
Wait,
are
wait,
waking up to the
what?
fact that
Waking up, like we haven't had this discussion for the last 2 centuries. The least a man can do is pay, huh?
Yeah, that's just the basic bare minimum, Allison. Like rescuing someone from a flood. The
If you're
bare
a friend,
minimum.
is the bare
Yeah.
minimum. The bare
Yeah.
minimum, if you're a female friend, is that you deal with another female's friend's crises. However, that individual term crisis, like who knows what she actually means by a crisis, but I doubt it's actually really significant happening, but whatever. So men are waking up to the fact that the least a man can do is pay. I guess that's the payload, eh? I feel
Yeah.
sorry. I
Yeah.
really feel sorry for the men who are married to the women in this group. Like, what
I
did
hope
you
there are no those well, I don't want to
allegedly?
get into it. There are things there no, I could see some men doing this and they would be in their own way just as bad because they would use if they were married to these women and they gave these women everything they asked for and they were able to somehow, they would use that as a way to essentially lord over other men. Like, look at me, I take care of my woman. I'm good to my woman. So that's a whole other can of worms, but those are the one good man on steroids, essentially. And I don't really like those guys either. So, it's just me.
the least a man can do is pay. Call us entitled, difficult, spoiled, gold diggers. We don't care. Because for a woman, it's not just okay to be all these things, it's necessary. The psyop of teaching women that these things are bad, you shouldn't want to be these things.
Blah, blah, blah.
They taught us that it is bad to be an entitled, difficult, spoiled gold digger. You know
No, that's
why.
fine.
the
If that's what you want to be, just don't have a vote. Like, don't be in a position of power over anyone. You can sit on your ass on your pillow and eat bonbons and be a child, but you don't get to have authority over anyone. At least not legitimate authority. Unfortunately, you do, which is why everything is going to go to shit.
Yep. So yeah, now it comes to it. She's just going to tell us that if you think she's a gold digger, it's a psyop, and she's not taking the bait. So another term on the list of overused terms, psyop.
It's
All right,
funny because she's saying, okay, let's keep going.
Yeah, okay, I'll play this is the section on gold diggers.
Release us from demanding our fair shake in this capitalist patriarchal society. So if being an entitled, difficult, spoiled gold digger is what will prevent you from being exploited, is what will get you what you want in
What
life,
does it mean
so
to
be
be
it.
exploited? I guess it's being an equal partner, providing equally financially. That's being exploited. Actually doing, if you don't provide equally financially, then doing household chores. So essentially what she's saying is that because we have a capitalist patriarchal society, women don't owe men anything in a relationship. Because she's spoken out against doing housework. She's spoken out against paying your bills. Like, she's spoken out against anything that a woman can contribute to her relationship, any kind of expectation. So basically, she's saying by virtue of being born, women are owed a living. Or no, they're owed not even a living,
Lifestyle.
a lifestyle. They're owed a lifestyle. Well, no, you aren't. And you're going to find out eventually, you're going to find out that that's the case. That this is not something that you can continue to do. And if you have this kind of a mindset towards men, you shouldn't have any power over them at all. You shouldn't be dictating public policy. Like, this is all you're going to do is dictate public policy to exploit men more. And then what happens when you construct a society in which women are so entitled like this that they no longer form pair bonds with the men who are responsible for keeping your fucking lights on. Do you think they're going to continue to do it? Men aren't owed anything, right? Well, it's really up to them to decide, isn't it? Like, it's really up to the guys who are keeping the lights on to decide what they're owed for keeping the lights on at the end of the day. It's not your decision. I mean, it's just like, this is not an attitude from women that's functional long term. This complete inability or unwillingness to commit or offer anything in return for anything that they get. And to just think that, oh, by virtue of being female, they are entitled to a living. This is the attitude that destroys civilizations. This level of entitlement, and not just level of entitlement, but then giving power to the people who feel entitled to this so that they just vote in more entitlements until the system can't bear it anymore and it blows up. Like, yeah, fine, Manifestal. You can be a spoiled girly. You can be a girl until you're wrinkly and skating into the grave. But girls don't get to vote. Grow up.
Yep. Well, that was basically the take home. Like those were the clips on that video.
Okay, and now we're
So-
going to go and she's going to immediately contradict herself.
Should we like go to the lavender marriage video?
Yeah. How much of it do we need to cover before we get the gist of?
I mean, I haven't. Hold on a second. I haven't like watched this one. I think I watched it a little bit, and I know what the general gist is of the lavender marriage video.
So,
Give me a second here.
Instead
I'm
of
gonna move this
instead
over
of
so you can see this
instead of
guy.
instead of
ahead.
just being friends with this dude in a platonic relationship, now you're going to marry him.
Well, the thing is, though, lavender. You know what a lavender marriage is, right?
Yes, it's with a gay man.
Yeah, it's when women marry gay men. I don't think I think that the reason why they do it is because women that would do that, there's a couple reasons. One of them is that they probably presume that these men are safe. So they're not risk, right? Like that's because they're gay. So like they don't have to worry. But I think that there's other things going on too with this. And I don't know, I might have some controversial thoughts on the whole concept of lavender marriage and even just marriage in general, but let's take a look at some of this. I do have some time codes care of Riverside. So all right. Let's just play it from the beginning. Here we go.
I am currently taking applications for lavender marriage. I am not joking.
It seems that women and men, and not necessarily gay men at that, they are entering these marriages for different reasons, from meeting societal or familial expectations to surviving
It's not just gay
economically.
men.
And
She's saying it's not just gay men, but yeah. What were you gonna say?
Oh no, I just sorry, I missed. Let's just keep going. Let's just keep going.
All
Let's
right,
get,
all
get
right.
through this.
this turning point kind of shows the evolution of lavender marriages into marriages of convenience. Here is my hot take that nobody asked for. For a woman, every marriage should be a marriage of convenience. Like, it should improve your life somehow, because if not, what's the point?
Okay.
I really don't blame men for just walking away. I really don't. I mean, if I were a man, I would not want to deal with this shit.
Well, let's I guess let's
No,
let's
I mean, the thing is that when the Huns are at the door and they finally break through, Manifestel will be on her hands and knees with her ass in the air. And this is what men are supposed to protect. A woman who has absolutely no investment in the society that she sucks from like a gigantic tick.
Mhm.
And the funny thing is that maybe I'll get a little racist. I shouldn't say that. I'll get a little culturalist. I think there's a reason why the cultural inheritance, like these large world spanning civilizations, come from Northern Europeans. And it's because, for whatever reason, maybe because we have a high degree of Neanderthal blood, European women tend to invest in their cultures a lot. And what I mean by that is they don't, like, if their cultural group or if their community group is going to die, they often choose to die with it. I'll use an example. So during the Cambria War, goddamn, there was a war with it was one of the ones that almost like really got the Roman Empire, but the Roman Republic. The
Do you not remember, or
No, I don't remember the name. I'm really sorry, but anyway,
it's not important. Just get into the.
okay,
point.
so the Romans were fighting against the Germanic hordes, the Teutons and another group, the Cimbri or something, and they had this final battle, and they finally broke their ranks. And what happened when they broke through the ranks of the men, these Germanic men, is that the Germanic women killed all of the men who fled the battle. And then they killed themselves, and then they killed their children.
Wait,
Because
you mean they're children and then themselves, right?
yeah, their children. Yeah, their children.
Okay,
Sorry,
all right.
yeah, the logic is
That yeah, I know.
so they
Just
killed
saying,
the men who
a
fled
little
the battle.
challenging. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. They killed the men who fled the battle. They killed their children, and then they killed themselves. Complete social annihilation. And this isn't actually that uncommon with Northern Europeans. I don't know if it's just something in the ecology of the region. It's actually very challenging resource-wise. But there's a lot of no, you don't take female slaves, and no, you don't allow yourself as a woman to be taken by another cultural tradition. You just done. You unalive yourself. And this is, there must have been enough women who did that in that region to change the culture. Enough women who were invested in their culture to that point to change the actual evolution of culture, so that there was no benefit necessarily in destroying another culture and taking slaves. So that evolution, and they did do that. I mean, actually, there was also Germanic tribes that, you know, they would win, and then they'd just kill everyone who was on the opposite side, just everyone, right? And it might just be because the carrying capacity of Northern Europe, there was no value to having additional women. So there was this kind of pressure that you end up with a woman who has that level of investment in her culture. That level of investment got us here. And I am looking at an interloper saying, we don't have to invest that much. We can just take. Oh, yeah? Get out.
All right. So let's listen to some more about this, I guess. Give it another shot.
Hey, bestie.
Let's jump to 1209, I guess, where she goes into the evolution into marriages of convenience. Let me go back a little bit.
And
Was that-
men and not
What?
Was that too awful, what I just said?
No.
Like, I mean, she can
necessarily
say,
gay men
she can
at
say
that.
if she actually inculcates to the culture of absolute loyalty to your civilization.
Yeah, but
No sticking
I
your
don't
ass
think
up
that
in the Hun.
I don't think she's the outlier. I think that this is the norm for women. I'm serious. I think that most modern women are more in line with her, so they're not really the outsiders. People like you are the outsiders. You're that like care about the future of civilization and not like getting that bag. And I'm sorry, but it is women. Like I was driving Lindsay to work. Lindsay is like so based, guys. I'm unfathomably based. And I was trying to be like kind of, we were talking about this video that we're going to talk about lavender marriages and stuff. And Lindsay just said women did this. Like she was just like, this is women's fault. Like 99%, like everything. Like because here's the thing about lavender marriages. So one of the points that is in this video is that Manifestel makes, one of the primary takeaways, okay, is that every marriage should be a marriage of convenience. So this kills the point of marriage with one phrase. Every marriage should be a marriage of convenience, which means every marriage should only be a marriage if I benefit from it. Okay.
Only.
That is not, only. That is not what marriage is supposed to be. And I'm not even saying that marriage is supposed to be this like, kind of idyllic romantic love thing either, because I think that's also kind of a propagandized lie. I mean, the truth of it is that marriage is really about family, and it is a sacrament. I mean, that's what it is. See, like the moment we got the government involved with marriage, we killed marriage. The moment we did that, because first it was like, we want to be able to get married, but we want the state to do it. Then it was like, well, we want benefits. And the state was like, okay, we'll give you guys tax breaks and we'll give you like extra little benefits if you are married. And the reason why the government would do that is obviously to like promote people getting married, to have children, so that you have like a civilization. Because if people aren't having babies, if they're not starting families, then all of this is pointless, right? What we're talking about is essentially we're fighting over like the rubble that will remain because we don't have enough people to sustain the system of government. But when we made marriage itself a government project, then you got women exploiting it. And yes, I'm going to say it, women exploited it in lots of different ways. One was they would get married just for the tax benefits, which is what I think the lavender marriage is. Now, Manifestel will tell you that the lavender marriage was, where a gay man would get married to keep up appearances and hide his, his actual, like, I don't know, perverse interests or whatever. And maybe that was true historically to some degree, but I don't think that's what it is now. I think now women who are not interested in getting married will marry gay men so that on paper they're getting married so they can exploit the benefits of that marriage. And then they just sort of like live, like they're just using it. It's just another vehicle to essentially extract resources for themselves. And gay men kind of benefit too because they get to play along, but it's ultimately the women that are doing it. And so this is, and you can look at it another way too, because I talked about this with Lindsay. We were talking about how, I was basically saying the more the married people get tax breaks and they get like a better return on their taxes. Women with more kids get better tax breaks. Women with multiple children from different fathers get more benefits because then not only do they get the tax breaks, but they get multiple streams of income from different child support, checks, even if they don't get all of the child support. But it's just another way for them to get money. And I knew women that did that. I knew women that would say, well, I got 3 kids from 3 different baby daddies, so I got this much money coming. I knew people who are like, yeah, I'm gay, but I got married because we're going to benefit. And so the problem is that we took something that was essentially like, that should have just been a private institution, dare I say a Christian one, and we basically just gave it to whoever. And I mean, Lindsay said that this all started when we like allowed for same-sex marriage. That opened the floodgates to all this other stuff. And I think that's true. I mean, like, I think that there's some truth to it because no one's treating marriage as anything serious anymore. It's just another contract. It's just another business deal. And Manifestel and women like her, they're proof of that. So this is like,
well, I'm going to push back on that a little bit.
You can push back on it. Go ahead.
I think lesbian marriage is probably the issue because at the very least, gay men aren't divorcing each other. And
no, and I don't, but I'm saying like that opened, I'm not saying that gay men should not get married. I'm saying that same-sex marriage was getting the foot in the door for all of this other bullshit. Like it was basically like, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like the change in how the FBI classified rape wasn't really about including male victims. It was about expanding the definition to increase the scope to justify more feminist intervention. Yeah, I gotcha. And then okay.
Yeah, I'm look. I don't look. I don't. I think
No,
that
I know you're Orthodox, so you're
no,
probably
no, no, no,
too.
no. I'm saying that ultimately, I think marriage should be a holy sacrament. But I understand that we live in the world where there are governments, and like literally, my marriage to Lindsay is one done to the state because it involves immigration. So I'm not saying that there's like that it's like a no go. I'm saying that we have not been very vigilant in the ways that these things can be exploited because now it is being treated as though it is simply a contract, a government binding contract. And maybe what would be better is that there was some distinction between a marriage and some other civil, union that's done through the state for people who are emigrating or people who are same sex or whatever. But I think that ultimately, like not acknowledging that the purpose of marriage is reproduction at the end of the day, and I know that's a really cold way to look at it, but when we don't accept that as a reality, we invite these kind of exploitative practices that Manifestel is talking about.
No, I gotcha. I got what you're saying. I wonder if there's a way we could have refined this a bit. Yeah, but the thing is that it does seem to open up a lot of problems. I gotta okay, so let's just listen to some more. I just
All
find
right.
I find it after I say what I want to say, I
All
just
right.
find it hilariously hypocritical that now she's okay with women having these platonic relationships, and like, you realize, wouldn't you have to actually give more to a gay man to make it worth it for him to marry you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know
It
what
seems like she's
possesses like here's another thing too is that well, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What are you going to say?
well, did the gay guy give any logic why he wants to marry a financial liability with no
You want me to
obligation
go
to him?
back? You
Sure,
want me to
let's
go
listen to
back
him.
and play it? Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
and I'm gonna.
I got a super chow
Yeah,
chat.
I
I'm gonna
noticed that. It was a
let me
little
read them
weird.
both. So, Advocate Varun Rathi gave us 400 something. I don't know what that is. And says, I want to invest in USA and get EB5 visa. I want to do business and create jobs in USA. Thank you. I'm sorry. I don't know what to do about that. But and then Great Indoors gave us $10 and says, I think it was Christopher Hitchens who, in a conversation with Stephen Fry, once equipped that, quote, the wish to get married misses the point of being gay, end quote. That's true. Egregious Charles says for $5, marriage as a business deal would be a step up because a business deal has penalties for breaking the contract. At least a biz contract is binding. Yeah, I don't see it like a business contract. I think it's like just another government thing that's like, incentivizing bad behavior. I mean, like that's what I think it ultimately not in every case, obviously. Like I said, I got married to Lindsay through the state because it was part of the immigration process, and I believe that we should be engaged in a legal form of immigration, at least as long as we have like a social welfare system. But yeah, I mean, I don't love that. So but okay, so thank you for all of that. Let us listen to this. Oh, it's rupees. Oh, okay. Thank you for explaining that. I wasn't sure what I was looking at.
Is only for the girls, or like anyone who doesn't identify as a man. If you are a man, I love you so much, but you're dismissed. Hey girl, I am currently taking applications for a lavender marriage. I am not joking. This is a serious inquiry, okay? I can be your husband, I can be your wife, I can be your dog. I will be whatever the you want me to be. All you have to do is marry me so that I can afford to pay a mortgage, utilities, and taxes. That's it. You can mess around with whoever you want, whenever you want. I don't care. In fact, I encourage it. Have fun. Live your best life. I don't own you. And you don't own me, but we could negotiate on that if owning me is something you'd be into. We can totally talk about it. All I ask is that when that monthly payment comes due, you are showing up with your half. And all I ask is that you be on time with those payments because reliability is very important to me. And you should know that. Some things that I've...
Do you want me to keep playing this or do you get
Well,
the
you're
gist
already
of what this
asking
is?
more than Manifestel. He's already asking for you to pick up half the bills. Is that not more than you would expect to give to a straight man? Like, seriously, how is this an advantage? You know,
Well, I
they're
think
really.
I think the better question is that if Manifestel would otherwise be opposed to this if the man was straight, but she's okay with it because the man is gay, then maybe that's not actually what she's after. And then you have to ask, like, what is it that you actually are doing here? What is this really about? And of course, this gay man is making the exact point that I predicted he was going to say, which is, I see marriage as simply a means to an end, and I'm going to use it. Basically, I'm just trying to take advantage of every possible exploit that I can. I'm playing the meta of life. Allison, I can't hear you.
And he's also playing to lose. Because why would you? Okay, why don't you just get a straight man who you have a platonic friendship with, presumably, or just as a roommate? Marry him because he can't take your house. Like, you think that the family courts just cease to apply because you're gay? Like, sure, you marry Manifestel, she can take your house. She can take half of your income going forward. Like, why would you open yourself up to these kinds of liabilities? And incidentally, those liabilities are in place because women were supposed to be having children. But, you know, like, why would you do that? Why are you so stupid?
Maybe he doesn't think it could happen to him.
Like, why is he, like, why are you even, this has to be a joke. Oh, no, he says it's not a joke. It has to be a joke.
Mm-mm.
Like, why would you do that to yourself? I mean, go ahead and do it to yourself.
He doesn't know the statistics. He doesn't think that women would do that to him.
You think that a woman...
He's also got a low opinion of men as
you
a gay
think
man.
that a woman who gets into a relationship for you for purely material benefit isn't going to accuse you of rape and domestic violence just to get a handle over you in a freaking divorce? Like, and yes, this is something that women's lawyers advocate they do because it's of benefit to them during the process of negotiation. I apologize. I have a doggo that wants attention, so.
Mine is just sleeping. He's just chilling right there. Hey, Jojo.
Yeah, once he hears this dog, he's gonna be like, I want.
No, he can't because I'm wearing headphones. But he's just chilling. All right. Let's play. Norwegian says he probably thinks she sees us as an ally because he's gay. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't. This guy's like in his own bubble, right? He thinks that he's not a man. That's why he even said, like, I could be your wife. Like, he's completely like trying to play the game. He doesn't know that he's got a disadvantage, but it doesn't matter. And I don't really have any sympathy, honestly. Like, if he gets screwed over, then, like, I'm sorry, buddy, but that's on you. I don't know why you thought that you were special.
He, more than any man, would have an out from being screwed over. And yet he chose to go into the meat grinder because reasons. Okay, so you are going to, and the other thing is, wouldn't this guy be like, this guy seems to hate men. Wouldn't he be like the lone wolf, dangerous dude? I guess it's because he's gay.
Well, yeah, I mean, for him, he looks pretty young anyway. Men are just means of, getting pleasure. He doesn't really like want. He's not looking at men as some kind of long-term investment.
Yeah.
So
we talked about this. It's like homosexual or like fetishizing male sexuality while having absolutely being androphobic.
Yeah.
Androphobic. Go through.
All right. I'll finish this.
Bring to the table, since you have a right to know, I am a licensed therapist, so I not only allow you to talk about your problems, but I would greatly encourage it if that's something that you're interested in. I work out every day, and I'm in pretty good shape, I would say, so I could beat some for you if I had to. Not that you'd need me to, but that perk is there. It's on the table if you'd like to take it, okay? I've got a lot of money in savings. I'm very smart with my money, but I'm not stingy, so I'd be taking care of you, and I'd really like to go on maybe 2-3 vacations a year with you, at least. I actually love to clean. Like, it literally brings me joy.
What is the point of your life,
I have a good eye for interior design. Just know that if you are a millennial gray girly, I respect and I honor that, but it is time for you to scroll away. It's not gonna work, okay? I cook decently well. I'm learning. I've got the basics down, but I'm really, really excited to, like, diversify my cooking skills. So you won't be dealing with any of this shit, planned incompetence with me, okay? You're my wife, not my mother. And I'm being so serious right now. I'm not joking. Please apply.
So hopefully
The guy is the Mouse Utopia Manifest. I'm dying inside just watching that. So look, pay attention. That guy's not just, he wasn't just gay. I would like to say there's another word that describes it. He was complete, like that guy's got mommy issues, I guarantee it. Guarantee it. Okay.
No father.
What?
No father. No
Right.
father in the house.
That's,
No father.
yeah, exactly.
involved.
No, I'm sensing fatherless behavior. All right, but anyway, so that's like the let's see, let me jump ahead to the bit where she talks about marriage as a convenience again. So that was that guy's that clip. That's just her example, okay? But again, this is purely about benefit. This is purely about what do I get out of this? How do I exploit this for material gain? And yeah, he basically is saying, I'm going to give you everything that spoiled girlies want, which is why she was nodding along with like how much he has in savings and how much he likes to clean and how he's willing to learn to cook and how he's willing to like sacrifice for her. And this guy doesn't even benefit from her, a woman romantically, supposedly. I think that there's other things we could talk about. I think that sometimes
but he still expects half the bills paid.
Yeah.
So that's more. That's more than what she's willing to do. So I don't know why she's not nodding along, Manifestel. You're still going to be on the grind. With that.
I don't know. She probably wouldn't take that guy, but I have no idea, Allison. I can't tell you why she thinks that's okay, and also has really high standards. I guess it's because like she doesn't have to fuck him ever. She doesn't have to give him a hand job once in a while. Like none of that's necessary. But I don't know. Because like I think there's another thing too. Okay, I think that sometimes women. A lot of times, I think women who have gay male friends want to have sex with them. And part of it is just because they think they can. Like, I think I can make him straight, right? And I wonder if women don't have a weird fetish about turning out gay men because it somehow validates the power of their vagina. I wonder about that. I don't know if you guys see what I'm saying. But I think that happens. Anyway, let me play this sound.
Women and men, and not necessarily gay men at that, they are entering these marriages for different reasons, from meeting societal or familial expectations to surviving economically. And this turning point kind of shows the evolution of lavender marriages into marriages of convenience. So let's talk about the whys of today's marriages of convenience. Number one is the societal pressures of seeing coupledom as the default. There's no denying that society still has a long way to go in its perceptions of women who choose to remain single.
Society. Whenever you hear these people say society, they mean women. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
I mean, we still have people with huge platforms, literally on live TV, demonizing single childless cat ladies as if women will never amount to more than the function of their wombs.
Okay, there isn't enough. Because they're demonizing you, not because you're not necessarily having children, but the way that you vote. And you vote with complete self-interest. Because how can you deny that, Manifestel? Your entire world is your self-interest. Of course, I'd argue that you don't have much self to be interested in, but your entire world is self-interest. And that's the problem that people have with single childless women, is that they vote entirely in their own self-interest or the interest of extremely dysfunctional purse puppy belief systems. Okay, sorry, my dog is a bit distracting.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
All right.
As if the full culmination of a fully realized woman is someone who has made use of her womb. And like this.
Yes, that's
yes.
That's just physical reality. You are here on this planet to reproduce, and we shouldn't
I
necessarily.
love that these people claim that they believe in evolution, but they don't realize that they're a product of evolution and that they're also a part of that chain. But that's because these people think the buck stops with them. So, anyway. Allison, are you trying to
Yeah,
talk?
we do have a super chat. I'm just looking at the vertical chat. It's very quiet. I guess
Yeah, sometimes it's like that.
Canopy says, "Did you see my message?"
I didn't
Yes,
see it.
I don't see any other. So Caterly, and we only saw that message, the one where you asked if we saw your message. We saw that one, but no other. But it's like, but the other thing is that, what is the point of her? Like, what is the point of Manifestel? Does she even think about that? Like, what's the point of her existence? Like, she basically has the same philosophy of life as a tapeworm.
Yep.
And it doesn't, like, she never pauses and says, wow, there's absolutely no point to me. There's no point to my existence except to excuse my parasitism, which I guess, I mean, tapeworms don't. I mean, hell, Manifestel, you really should understand the Tao of the tapeworm. Tapeworms don't have to justify their existence. And yet here you're doing the emotional labor of justifying your parasitic existence to people who will never understand. I will never understand the apparent feminine urge to get something for nothing.
Yep.
Because when you get something for nothing, you are nothing. Okay, let's keep going.
All right, I'll play some more.
Reduction of women into their biological processes is gross. It's no wonder that women feel this great pressure to be married because society sees being married as the default. A 2021 study by Susan Sprecher and Diane Family of the Department of Sociology and Anthropology at the Illinois State University.
Oh, immediately disregarded. Sociology, bullshit. Anyway, I'll play more.
And
basically feminists citing feminists. This is like every time they bring up these studies, it's just feminists citing other feminists. Oh, look, these feminists over here agree with me. How about that? I must be right. I'm telling the truth right now. Everything is socialized, and only the feminists can help you see that.
Pennsylvania State University sampled 616 single adults ages 18
616 is not a large sample size, but okay.
to 30 who reported some degree of network pressure to enter a relationship. Surprise, surprise, actually not a surprise, the researchers found that the pressure to become partnered was perceived more from parents and family more than friends. And additionally, women scored higher than men on an index of social pressure from parents and family to enter a relationship, as well on an index measuring FOBS, or fear of being single. And in fact, this pressure is not only real, but actually has a name. It's called amatonormativity. It's the assumption that everyone desires and should aim to have a romantic relationship. And the term was coined by a 2016 philosophy professor, Elizabeth Brake, although
probably another feminist. Let's find out who Elizabeth Brake is really quick.
And while you're doing that, I just want to point out, didn't we just do an entire video on how you shouldn't have platonic relationships with men, Manifestel? I mean, basically, you just said, don't have platonic relationships with women. Don't have platonic friendships with women. Women, that takes your energy somehow. Now you're saying, let's turbocharge our platonic friendships with men and get married to them. Like, do you have a consistent position in your entire ovoir or entire corpus of is that how you say the word? Entire portfolio of witterings? And how, if she doesn't have a consistent position, can you possibly take her advice on anything? Like, it just feels like she's vomiting out inconsistent, ridiculous bullshit and maybe it just is what she's doing is giving women a sense that they're right in all of the mistakes that they've made in their lives.
So I don't. She doesn't really say anything else, but I do want to like look. I mean, basically the takeaways from this is that women are pressured by society, doctor society, to
That
get
bastard.
married, and not men, not men. And it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that women like feel like pressure differently. They're more neurotic. They on the big five, they're more agreeable. No, it's nothing like that. It's because of patriarchy, and that lavender marriages are a way to cheat the system by avoiding heterosexual marriages with men, because men are labor and men are risk. And so if you marry a gay man for whatever reason, he is less dangerous, less risky, and less laborious because he'll do more of the work, but you will also still be able to divorce him and take half his shit. And he doesn't even see it coming because he thinks like you're like a decent person, like he's trying to be. So there's
Okay.
that. And also,
But still, I want to push back slightly on this. Already, the fact that he expects her to pay half the bills makes him less materially valuable. So, what is the labor that she's doing? Like, she's already signing on. If she's saying, "Oh, this is great," she's already signing on to paying half the bills, right? So that's more than what she wants. She would allow with a relationship with a heterosexual man.
well, then why is
What
she
is-
promoting this then?
Because I think she hates heterosexuality in men.
Okay.
I don't know.
So that's it. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that's
got
it.
to
I
be
mean,
something. Like she probably wouldn't do that, but she's promoting it to other women.
Yeah, she's promoting. Yeah, like she wouldn't. Like literally, she's saying something that she wouldn't find agreeable, which is having to pay half the bills for the. I'm sorry, I woke up the beast. I thought that he was. I just said hi, and then he came over and he's like, "Oh, play, play, play." But yeah, she's just like, this is a situation where she's willing to take more. She's willing to actually do more than she would with a relationship with a heterosexual man. So what is like? And again, I think she hates male sexuality.
I don't know what else it could be.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, obviously she's contradicting herself because the point she's making is not the point she's making, because otherwise she would be concerned about consistency.
Yes. Otherwise she'd say, well, I don't want to pay half the bills. I'm a spoiled girly. My ideal deal is that the man pays everything. I do nothing, which usually means some other woman has to do the household labor, and I just sit on a pillow because and you in my audience, you get to be the ones who do my household labor because you're gonna have to make money, but you can do stuff for me, and you can be in your servant mentality as other women for me. And it's like, yeah, you're this is a direct contradiction to the last thing you said. And again, like, if you're a woman listening to this, how do you take any advice from this woman? I don't think this is advice. This isn't supposed to improve your life. It's not consistent enough for that. I think it just makes women feel better about themselves, which is profoundly sad if you think about it. All right, let's keep going.
Well, anyway, I was saying that those are the takeaways. Essentially, that
that's
marriage, yeah, that's it. That's like every marriage should be a marriage of convenience. If you get into a marriage of convenience, you can mess around with other people because the gay man doesn't care. So it's basically like not even like marriage. What even is that except like a piece of paper that I can use to extract more resources, lower my taxes, and make my life easier. And she can also, because the gay man says, well, you can like sleep around with other people if you want to, because I'm not married to you because I want to be exclusive. So she can still extract the resources from other heterosexual men while the gay man pays for half of everything. So it's not really a commitment anyway. So like the whole thing just throws marriage out, and she claims to be Catholic, which is bullshit, obviously. And then she tries to justify it by saying, well, marriage has been around for a long time, so why wouldn't we use that to get all of our needs met from as many different people as possible? So they're not just getting money out of the gay man they're married to, they're getting money from any other man they get involved with, while also getting to claim exclusivity so they can't get nailed down by an actual heterosexual man that wants to have babies with him. And then she also goes on to talk about how marriage itself is probably like a bad idea anyway, because why are women getting all this pressure to have babies? I mean, she's kind of anti-natalist, she's anti-marriage, even though she wants to use it to exploit people. She's anti-heterosexuality, she's anti-male, she's all these things. And the woman that she cites, by the way, Elizabeth Brake, I will share this screen. This is who this is. She has her own website, and she says, I'm a professor of philosophy at Rice University. My research is in ethics, political philosophy, and feminist philosophy. I have written on topics such as love, sex, marriage, amantonormativity, which is like the fear of, like the normalization of marriage, stupid, procreative ethics, and disaster ethics, and environmental justice. You are the carbon they want to reduce. Earlier in my career, I also wrote on the history of philosophy, particularly Kant and Hegel. My current research project focuses on intimate partner violence, examining distinctive wrongs in personal relationships such as emotional abuse and stalking. So this is the person that Manifestel is using as her reference. And she wrote a book called Minimizing Marriage, which is exactly what it sounds like. And that's her. So this is what women are watching. So there you go. That's it. I got nothing else to say. Except Manifestel makes me sick to my stomach. And Allison is
no, I'm here. I just I settled the doggo down. All right. So maybe not. I hear the demon coming closer. Just give me a second here. Hey. No. I'm working. Quiet. So I'm just curious how this jives with this whole don't be in like the whole if you follow my advice you'll get a provider, a good provider man. So we're going to follow the advice of a woman who's following the advice of a woman who hates marriage and wants to destroy it.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I think that that is a recipe for failure. And I don't understand. Like I think fundamentally I might not be female. Because I don't understand why you want to live like this. Like you don't want to build anything, you don't want to be held to any kind of standards. Don't you miss the kind of person you are when you strive? Like there's something about striving to do something that's so satisfying. How can you want to live like this? Like as a nothing. I don't know.
Yep.
I think maybe the problem is that she's descended from a whole generation of women who were like, I could have working feet, or I could have a reason to extort labor from other people. And then they were like, break those fuckers. I want a reason to extort labor from other people. I mean that has to have an influence. Whereas I come from a long line of women who are like, if you destroy my culture, I die too. might be a slight difference.
I mean, maybe if they're separated enough from the consequences of their actions, you know, like then they don't see the impact of what they believe, like where the downstream effects are. And the thing is, we prepare them for that too, because if there is like disastrous consequences, then guess what? They're going to blame men because they've already been primed to do that. This is the product of a capitalist patriarchy. That's why everything's so awful. Late stage capitalism. You know?
Yeah.
It's always somebody else's fault, is what I'm saying.
All I know is that I feel like we are I have a sense, perhaps incorrect, that we so is there anything further to cover from this?
No.
No?
No,
Okay.
I think that's the gist of it. Yeah. Yeah, that's everything.
All right. Well, again, it is sometimes a little bit horrifying to go and look at the influencers for women. Like, I mean, I know that I don't know.
You know that the Call Her Daddy podcast was the #1 podcast in the world for women. And number 5 was Talk Tua, which was the Hawk Tua Girls podcast, which I think is probably dead now because she's going to be going to jail for scamming people on her digital currency. But it was the 5th most popular podcast in the world, like number 5 for women. I mean, no, not just for women in general, but it was mostly women that watched her. So women have chosen their gods, their idols, and that's who they are. It's porn stars, prostitutes, and like thoughts. That's who they worship. I don't know why, but it is.
I don't even know. Like, is Andrew Tate comparable?
No, I don't think so. I know.
I mean, he's
Look.
a pimp.
Yeah, well, but sure, but I mean, like, he's not the number 1 podcast either. It's still Joe Rogan and then Tucker Carlson. So,
yeah, and actually, that's politics and basically life stuff.
Yeah.
And also Jordan Peterson. I mean, Andrew Tate really seems like it's like a manufactured thing in a lot of ways.
A bit, but I mean, I wouldn't overstate Andrew Tate's importance. I don't think it's as big as people say.
Well, but he's convenient.
I think it is convenient. Exactly. It is.
I mean, but when I listen to him, I just can't get over the fact, and maybe I'm completely wrong, but he seems incredibly stupid. Maybe, is that incorrect impression?
I don't know. I don't watch that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
And I don't mean
watch that much. I mean, I defend him when I think he's like mistreated, and I was correct to do that because he's beating all of his cases, and Hannah covered it in a show. So suck it if you're a hater, but that doesn't make me a fan. I'm just kind of indifferent. He's just out there. I think that largely his presence was, I think, artificially inflated because they needed somebody that was a straw man of the manosphere, and he was the best candidate. And so they prop him up. They prop up Fresh and Fit. They prop up, it's not that those people are like literally like a psyop or anything, but it's just like you have all these people out here, and some of them get lifted up in like the general consciousness by algorithms and so on, and those are the guys that do it, and it's fine, like, but that's why I don't see the reason to be concerned with that much, because I don't think any of those guys want to, like, use women as much as possible. And I don't even think that even if they did, I don't think men could actually pull it off. Most of them won't. So it's like most of the people who watch these guys, they're not actually going to be able to take advantage of the shit because they don't have Bugattis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're kind of like they're just kind of like engaging in kind of wishful thinking, and it doesn't have a lot of practical application in their life. But, if you can make something of it, then yeah, that's fine. I don't think it's anything like what women are exposed to.
Oh,
and
sorry.
There's a reason. You see it in the data. Like, men are moving slightly right, and they've always sort of moved in this
South
pattern.
Korea.
Yeah, well, South Korea needs a bit of a backlash. But the women are completely off the rails. So
South Korea is just sort of melting down. Okay, well, I should go back onto my seeing me instead of the doggo. All right, so what is the point of being an eternal victim? Like, why? Why do you just exist like, what is the point of your existence? Like, you don't build anything, you don't make anything, you just sit there and you whine like a child. Like, this isn't your final like form, ladies. You're supposed to get out of the infant stage at some point. But yeah, this is I don't know. We're probably gonna be like severely penalized because of my racism today.
I don't remember anything, but okay. Against who?
Her.
Against Manifestel?
Yes, I said get out of my culture.
Oh, that's not racist. That's not racist. That's discernment.
That's discernment. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, like, what the fuck? Yeah, I come from a long line of women who just, who invested in the culture up to a point of death. I mean, not all of them, but at least enough, a critical mass that it changed the course of European history. You apparently come from a line of women that damaged their feet so they didn't have to walk, so they could guilt other people into walking for them. Oh my God, that is a hot take. I think it has an influence. I'm just saying the way that women conduct themselves in the past, in their cultures, has an influence on their attitudes in the present. And I'm not saying that Western women are any better at this point, but we were. There was something good about us once. There was something. We were, Western civilization didn't just come out of Western men. It also came out of Western women. So there was a point in time when we too were based, and then we just lost that. And yeah, be nice to get it back. All right. That was a weird wittering. Okay, so if you enjoy this content, even though it was a little chaotic today, admittedly, most of that was my fault because I woke the beast. But if you enjoy this content, please consider supporting it at feedthebadger.com/support. And if you want to send us a tip, and with that tip, you want to drop us a line, you can do so at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. And yeah, Brian, if you have any final thoughts, go ahead. I think I'm just fractalizing at this point. So
It's all right. I mean, I think I said what I wanted to say. I think maybe we should consider getting the government out of marriage. Maybe we should consider disincentivizing people from exploiting it as though it's just another system that you can like extract resources from. And maybe even, dare I say it, marriage should be a holy sacrament and only religious people should engage in it. And that way, people who are not, do whatever you want, but you just don't benefit. That's all. So that's my hot take on it. I think it would be the easiest. I think women will just have to deal with it, and that men will probably be willing to adapt.
Okay,
but,
I have to say two things. We have a super chow, but also I sort of like the talking. Yes, we do, and I sort of really like the talking point that when men get married, they're more likely to stay married. So maybe it isn't women that maybe it wasn't like men who shirked their relationship responsibilities and required us to have really strict laws around divorce in the past. Maybe that wasn't because men were straying or weren't able to live up to their side of the arrangement. Maybe the other half of the party was the other half of the arrangement was the problem. I just like that talking point. It's just so incontrovertible. Okay.
Anyway, no, I already read the Super Chow. If it was the one for the rubles, that was and Great Indoors one. I read that one already.
Oh, okay. Sorry, then I missed it.
I read that one.
Maybe
No,
I was
it's okay.
distracted.
Probably playing with the dog. All right.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was all I wanted to say about that. As far as the
he's my mental health support animal.
Oh, that's cool. Jojo is just chilling like a villain. He doesn't even. He's so easy to please. He's just laying there. He stays still mostly.
We don't get to see him. Oh, yep,
but he does have his energetic moments. But like not.
Well,
now,
I'm going to enjoy my dog's energy while it lasts.
All right.
Because we know that it changes and he becomes more quiet.
Yeah.
And that that's not. It's good when they're young and energetic. I'm just saying. Okay.
All right. Well, anyway, so we're gonna get out of here now. So if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications, leave us a comment. Let us know what you guys think about what we talked about on the show today. And please, please, please share this video because sharing is caring. You guys can check out the original videos in the description. I put both links in there if you want to watch it yourself and subject yourself to this cringe. And please, please, please share this video, like I said. Thank you guys so much for coming on today's episode of Maintaining Frame, and we will talk to you all in the next video.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.